Alright, so today we're going to prove this trigonometric identity. We're going to prove that cosecant of x plus secant of x parenthesis squared equals cosecant squared of x times secant squared of x plus 2 cosecant of x times secant of x. In the right side, I'm going to write the formulas we're going to need. So in order to prove any identity, we have to pick a side. Let's say the left side, or it could be the right side as well. And we have to prove that the left side is equal to the right side. I'm going to pick the left side to work on. So cosecant of x plus secant of x parenthesis squared, I can immediately see that if I'm making this first term a and this second term b, I can apply the a plus b parenthesis square formula, which is the square of a sum, algebraic formula, which I'm going to need here. A plus b parenthesis squared is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. I can definitely use this formula here. So I'm going to get cosecant squared of x, that's a squared, plus 2 times cosecant of x times secant of x, that's 2ab, plus secant squared of x, that is b squared. Alright, so keep in mind I keep working the left side. As I work the left side, I compare to the right side. So I notice that this middle term, 2 cosecant of x, secant of x, is also part of the right side. So I have already gotten that part. Now if I could just prove that cosecant squared of x plus secant squared of x is equal to cosecant squared of x times secant squared of x, then I prove the trigonometric identity. So this is what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to... Actually, I should rearrange this terms here. So cosecant squared of x plus secant squared of x. Addition is commutative, so I can move these terms here. Plus 2 cosecant of x times secant of x. This is that third term, which, like I said, appears in the right side as well. So I'm going to leave it unchanged. Now, cosecant squared of x plus secant squared of x. The only thing that I can do right now is use the reciprocal identity. Cosecant of x is 1 over sine of x, as well as secant of x equals 1 over cosine of x. So I'm going to plug those in here. So instead of cosecant squared of x, I'm going to rewrite it as 1 over sine squared of x. Plus secant squared of x, I'm going to rewrite it as 1 over cosine squared of x. And the third term, like I said, is going to stay unchanged because it is part of the right side as well. Now, of course, you see that these two terms are in terms of sine and cosine, sine squared and cosine squared, which is not good because eventually I need to get the right side, which is in terms of cosecant squared and secant squared. But I'm going to rearrange them at the end. So right now, the best thing I can do is bring these two terms to a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply this first fraction by cosine squared of x over cosine squared of x, and this second fraction by sine squared over sine squared. So I'm going to get cosine squared of x over cosine squared of x times 1 over sine squared of x plus second fraction, like I said, multiplied by sine squared of x over sine squared of x. So that is times 1 over cosine squared of x plus, and the third term is unchanged. Obviously, if you're going to look at this two terms, first two terms, and this expression, you're going to see that we have a common denominator. And the common denominator is sine squared of x over sine squared of x times cosine squared of x. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to start with the denominator. Sine squared of x times cosine squared of x. The numerator is going to be cosine squared of x plus sine squared of x. I'm going to copy the third, but in this case it's going to be the second term, which is 2 cosecant of x times secant of x. Now this is beautiful because I noticed something familiar. Cosine squared of x plus sine squared of x is part of the first Pythagorean identity, which is sine squared of x plus cosine squared of x equals 1. First Pythagorean identity, probably the most important formula of trigonometry. By the way, these are formulas which should be handy or memorized. So I'm going to get, I should probably go to another page. I don't have that much room here. So I'm going to get to continue with my left side. So I get 1 over sine squared of x cosine squared of x plus the second term, which I said we didn't touch, 2 cosecant of x times secant of x. Now we can clearly see that I can rewrite this term as 1 over sine squared of x times 1 over cosine squared of x. Copy the second term. And the reason why I rewrote this term as the product of these two terms is because this is 1 over sine squared is actually cosecant squared of x. 1 over cosine squared of x is actually secant squared of x, which is exactly what we're supposed to get. So now we can clearly see that the left side is actually identical to the right side. So we proved this trigonometric identity.